Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Join the Journey Challenge. I'm Holly, and this is check-in 25. I think I got that right this time. Last time I said the wrong number. But anyway, we're moving along, and I wanted to check in with you, see how you're doing, see how your journey is coming along. I hope you're making progress. I am happy to report that I have just finished painting number 3. So yay, I have 3 paintings now, 3 complete paintings. I'm proud. And you know what? Being proud and celebrating that is totally a choice, because there are other ways that I could look at this. I could look at it as only 3 paintings, really? And you've been at this for how many weeks? But no, I'm not gonna do that. Why would I do that? That wouldn't help me at all. I am easing back into this. We are taking baby steps here. All that matters is slow and steady progress. And you know what? I think that's more powerful and, in the long run, more effective than going hard in the beginning and then burning out. I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen for me or you. And I know myself, and I have that self-awareness that I do have a tendency to get really sucked into projects that I am passionate about. But that comes with its consequences, right? Like, it can be really powerful and effective, but there's also sort of the darker side to that is it sometimes results in exhaustion. Sometimes it results in sacrificing other things that are important to me, kind of like I did in college. Like, my artwork in college was the most important thing, and just schoolwork in general and grades. Like, I gave everything to that, which of course came out with some good work and good grades, but then, you know, it had its consequence of I sacrificed some friendships for that. I was really exhausted by the end and totally burned out on my artwork. So that's one of the reasons I think that I took such a long break from it, because I didn't give myself a chance to recover in small doses throughout my 4 years of college. So instead, I needed like a long recovery afterwards. So anyway, I don't want to repeat that. I've learned from it. You know, it was part of my journey. I don't regret it per se, but I'm being very intentional with how I go about getting back into it. So anyway, how did I get into that? Oh yeah, I'm celebrating this being painting number 3, and I'm not getting down on myself for thinking I should be making more. No. So I'm also learning how to kind of incorporate artwork into my life and like have it be part of my life instead of like all or nothing, like finding a place for it, you know? And that's definitely what I was doing last week. So I haven't made a video in a week, since last Monday, I guess it was, because other things came up that I decided were important. And I had a great week. I connected with a lot of people. I did a lot of like just different things, and worked on my art. I worked on the painting a little bit as I went, but that was sort of an intentional way for me to give myself some space to step away, to rest and recover, and not like go so hard and then burn out. So anyway, it still got me to a finished piece, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's been, I don't know, I've kind of been back and forth about how I feel about this piece. I showed you the ugly duckling phase last time, and since then I've resolved this area kind of to the best of my ability. It's still, here, let me get you a little bit closer so you can see. I'm still not in love with a lot of things about it, but it's, you know, it was a learning experience. I'm still really learning how to paint. It's kind of like learning a new language, you know, learning a new medium, sort of like learning a new language and figuring out what each what effect each brush stroke has, or like the different kinds of brushes and the different viscosities and color combinations. So I don't know if you can tell, but I added some text in the background, and that was, let me find a good spot where you should be able to see it, like up here. That was sort of that finishing touch that came about yesterday, and I just finished today. I felt like it was just missing something. Like it was, yes, it looks like a tiger and all, and you know, I kind of created the background, the environment that I envisioned. Like I wanted it to look like it was in the jungle at night, like creeping out of its cage. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But I was just feeling kind of bored, like it was missing something. It was missing like something that's very me, like part of my personal imagery or my personal like visual language in my artwork. So that's when I just came up with this idea to start adding some text, some script. So what it says, there are two phrases, actually it's the same phrase, just in two different languages. Soy libre, or actually yo soy libre, and I am free. So this piece is about freedom, which is something that's super important to me. And so the little backstory to this is that I was talking to, I think I mentioned this on one of the check-ins, but I'll recap it quickly. Talking to some of my creative friends about like this journey and like rediscovering the artist Holly, quote unquote, they gave it that name. And my friend Luzma pointed out how like artist Holly had been in a cage for a very long time. And once I finally let her out, like to roam free and to embrace her freedom, she didn't really know how to do that or what to do. And she was scared. So she was staying sort of within the invisible confines of where the cage used to be, kind of like a tiger, like pacing the perimeter of where its cage used to be, even after the cage has disappeared. So she said that I needed to like creep outside in the jungle at night and sort of explore and practice embracing my freedom. So that's what this is about. I just love that image and I wanted to create it. It created a really strong like visual image for me. Does that make sense? In my mind's eye. And so I wanted to translate that onto a canvas, and I feel like I've done that. It's not exactly how I envisioned it, but there's always a gap between what we see in our mind's eye and what we create on the page or on the canvas, right? And I mean, this goes for writing too, and probably a lot of other of the creative arts. So I am okay with that, and I also sort of gave this piece the freedom to evolve naturally, like as I interacted with it. So, you know, like this background wasn't exactly how I envisioned it, but I'm happy with how it turned out. I think that's kind of a cool thing about a piece of art, is that it can sort of, you know, by following your intuition, it can kind of sort of evolve itself like as you go. Anyway, a couple other things about the tiger that I wanted to mention, because I've been like reading a little bit about the tiger spirit animal and symbolism as I've been doing this, and a lot of it resonated with me. So it says the tiger represents personal power, courage, which I talked about on the last check-in, unpredictability, the ability to trust yourself, which I've talked about a bit here, primal instincts, raw emotions, spontaneity, and intuition. Tiger spirit gives you willpower, strength, vitality, and enables you to deal with strong emotions effectively. It also represents independence and determination. So I loved all of that. I've had a lot of fun with this tiger. I think it was an important piece for me to do. It's not ultimately the kind of art that I want to be making, but I'm looking at this as a stepping stone, as practice, and I enjoyed it too. So So yeah, so that's it. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Don't forget the importance of rest and recovery. I know I touched on that, but just want to reiterate that and see how that might look for you, whether you're on a creative journey or something very intellectual in nature, or even just like physical training. You know, when you're training for anything, especially like a sport or weight training, I know from my student athletes that tell me this, there's they like will build for several weeks and train really hard, and then they'll have like a week of like lower weights or maybe just like complete rest to kind of give the body a time to rest and recuperate and recover. So don't forget that's important. So we're taking breaks when we're tired instead of quitting. Okay, my friends, I am going to work on my ideas for my next piece, and I plan to be able to announce that to you in my next check-in. So stay tuned, and happy travels, and may the tiger spirit be with you. I'll talk to you again soon.